What's up, YouTube gamers? Bonfire here, bringing you another Insight commentary. And today I've got some brand new gameplay from the recently released The Last of Us. And I just started playing this multiplayer, and I know what a lot of you are thinking right now. The Last of Us has multiplayer? Yes it does, and it's actually pretty good. Now, the match you're watching right here is called Supply Raid. That's the game type, and it's essentially team deathmatch with a limited amount of respawns. And every time you kill someone, you get supplies. Now, the whole idea behind their multiplayer that they've created is that you have a faction and you try to recruit more survivors, and when you get more survivors, you need more supplies. So overall, it's kind of just a different way of leveling up, getting experience, and progressing in multiplayer. Now, in this particular match, I go 8-3, which may not sound like a lot, but given that there's only a limited amount of kills, this is actually a pretty good match. And one of the things about The Last of Us multiplayer is that it's pretty difficult when you first start out. I know I got pretty frustrated, and I was just thinking to myself, people said this multiplayer was good, and yes it is good, because once you start to level up, once you kind of get the hang of it, it takes a little bit to get used to, but once all that happens, it really just starts to open up and show its true colors. Now, keep in mind that the gameplay, it plays a lot slower, and it is slower paced, it's more tactical and team based. And those are some of the reasons right there why I like it, because you do have to be tactical. There is a stealth element to the multiplayer, which I don't think you get in a lot of multiplayer games, and you have to work as a team, because when you are working as a team, because you can revive each other, you're gonna do a lot better. Now, overall, the gameplay kind of reminds me of a mix between Uncharted 3, which is no surprise there because that's also done by Naughty Dog, as well as Gears of War, being able to knock people down and then finish them off execution style, or revive them. And just the overall aiming in third person has a lot of Gears of War style in it. I think one of the biggest things you'll notice about the multiplayer is that it incorporates a lot of gameplay mechanics from the single player campaign. And that's really cool, because there's a lot of stealth elements, there's real time when you're building things or healing yourself. That all applies in a multiplayer, and I think it adds a very unique element that makes this game's multiplayer stand out. So overall, I hope you guys enjoy the gameplay, and I hope to bring you guys some more of these gameplays, because the game's a lot of fun, and let me know what you guys think. Now, let's get to today's topic, because about a week ago, there was an article out about an interesting point of view on used games, and an interesting suggestion. Now, the gentleman who made the statement, his name is Rue Wirasuria. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that name right, but we'll just go with it. He's the boss of the developer Ready at Dawn. And Ready at Dawn is currently working on The Order 1886, which is coming out exclusively for the PlayStation 4. A couple games they did the PSP God of War games previously before this. Now, what he stated was that GameStop is quote-unquote taking everyone for a ride. And I think that's a pretty interesting statement. What he's referring to is used game sales, because he's basically saying that GameStop is capitalizing and taking advantage of not only consumers but developers to make a profit. And yes, they are. I don't think you can necessarily fault them for it, though. Now, since he was addressing used games, he made a suggestion, and this is what stood out to me the most. He suggested that GameStop and other used game retailers alike be required to give some of the used game revenue back to developers. And like I said, I think that's a very interesting statement, and a bold one at that. Because if you guys don't already know, when you buy a game brand new, the developer sees a portion of those sales. Now, if that person then trades in that game, gets a little bit of his money back that he spent, and someone else, a brand new consumer, goes in and buys that used copy, the developer does not see any revenue. And essentially, one sale has been taken away from the developer. And that is the big issue within the gaming industry as far as used games are concerned. Because developers are losing money, it's getting more and more expensive to develop games. So there's been a lot of talk on how to solve this issue. And with this statement, I think it brings up an interesting point. So I wanted to take a look at reasonings that support this statement and reasons against it, both that I've seen and kind of thought of myself. Now, first off, let's take a look at the for it, or in support of this statement. One of the biggest things about this and in support of it is that customers or consumers should not be penalized for used game sales. And I think that's right. Because if you look at what Microsoft was going to do with their original DRM plan before they did the Xbox 180, was that anytime a consumer wanted to trade in a game or even give it to a friend, there was a fee associated with that the consumer would have to pay. Now, consumers shouldn't be penalized for that. And I think that's a very valid point. If you, like he said, pass that expense on to the retailers, then I think it makes things a little bit more fair. The nice thing about this and supporting it is that it allows for used game sales, because if we look at a DRM world and digital distribution and used games kind of just gonna stop, slowly die down, well, this still allows for used games to happen because it's not completely stopped, and GameStop can still do their thing and be in business. And I think which leads me to my next point is that everyone wins in this particular situation. Because you have the consumer who can purchase a game and then trade it in to get a little money back. So they're going to be happy. Developers are going to see more revenue, so they're going to be happy. And I even think this is a win for GameStop because they can still stay in business doing what they do. They just have to probably maneuver things a little bit in order to remain profitable. But overall, it's a win-win for everybody. Now, reasonings against it. I read an example that other markets, such as used car sales, they don't do this. And I think that's a pretty interesting point, and it's true. Used cars don't do this, and even music sales don't do this, even if there is hard copy music anymore. Another point that I saw that was made was developers just need to make better games so people don't trade them in. And I think that's true to an extent. I mean, it's a point of view, of course. It's an opinion. However, I think no matter what you do, no matter how good the game is, for example, Skyrim I know is really good. The Fallout 3 is really good. Some people even say all the Call of Duties are really good, yet people are still trading these games in. So I think no matter what, you're going to get someone trading in a game. And a last point going against this statement is that developers shouldn't be paid twice. And well, I see your point there. However, I don't feel that the developers are being paid twice, because I stated before that when someone goes in to buy a used game, that when they buy that game, instead of buying new, the developer just lost a brand new sale. So with this GameStop paying the developer for that used game sale transaction, therefore making up that sale, not being paid twice. So my personal opinion is that I think this could work. I think it is an intriguing idea. I think that it does have the potential to at least address the problem, give it a band-aid a little bit as far as this industry is concerned. But mostly I want to hear from you guys because I think this is so intriguing. So what do you guys think? Do you think GameStop and retailers should be required to give some of the used game revenue back to developers to solve this problem with used games? Do you support it? Are you against it? Let me know in the comment section down below. And if you guys enjoyed the video, like the gameplay, also let me know if you guys want to see more Last of Us multiplayer gameplay. I hope you do, because I want to bring you guys more. Let me know if you like the video by giving me a thumbs up, hitting that like button, sharing it with your friends, and hitting that subscribe button. Until next time, guys, I'm Bonfire, and I'll see you online.
Hey guys, don't forget Facebook and Twitter. Hit that button down below.